And welcome, Finger Lakes basketball fans, to another edition of the Upstate Hoops podcast on FingerLakes1.tv. It's February 13th, 2014, and this is our 12th episode of the 2013-14 season as we are coming at you live from the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. I'm Jim Sinacropi alongside my co-host Matt Verke. How's it going?
Good, Jim.
A little snowy out there tonight, Verk?
A little bit.
Well, we had a couple guys in studio that traveled a lot farther than us through the storm tonight, and in just a moment we'll be joined live in studio by a pair of varsity boys basketball coaches, Brian Miller of the Geneva Panthers and Les Miller of the Dundee Scots. We're going to talk about all the action in the Wayne Finger Lakes leagues over the final week of the regular season and look ahead to sectional play, which begins next week. The Upstate Hoops podcast is brought to you by Generations Bank. Generations of service for over 140 years. Visit them online at mygenbank.com and check out their mobile banking app in the iPhone or Android app stores. And also by Red's Place, serving great lunches daily in downtown Seneca Falls. Come down and watch all the big games on one of their 10 flat-screen TVs. And check them out online at men'shalloffame.com. And Seneca Meadows Landfill, responsible waste management for the next generation. See how they do it by watching their videos at senecameadows.com. All right, it's time for Meet the Millers.
Is that a movie?
It is, with Jennifer Aniston and the other guy from Saturday Night Live. But we have, as I alluded to earlier, Les Miller of the Dundee Scots and Brian Miller of the Geneva Panthers, both have been on the show before. Brian's been in studio, first time this year though, and Coach Les Miller has called into the studio a couple times, and thanks for making the trip, guys.
Oh, no problem.
Thanks for having us.
Looking forward to getting into the end of year stuff and looking ahead at sectionals and some of the brackets, but let's start with you, Coach. Actually, I'm going to call you Les tonight and you Brian tonight. I usually call people by
Don't confuse us.
Right. So Les, your Scots are having a great season at 15-3. The two losses to Bloomfield in league, and then a loss on Tuesday night to Naples. We just looking for an update on the state of your team and what happened at Naples on Tuesday.
All right. Adversity, I guess, right now. We're dealing with 3 kids out right now. We lost Cole Hartman for the year with a broken hand, and so we are trying to find our way again right here at the end of the year. We've had one practice since all of this went down as well, so we haven't even really been together at all yet. So it's tough.
And those 3 were out with against Naples as well. In that game that lost to Naples.
The last one, the Welsh, got a concussion during the Naples game, so we lost him as well. The other 2 were out. Yep.
So that's frustrating, Verk. They're having a great season at 15-3, and the same thing happened with Lions up in Wayne County, having a solid season. They've got 3 guys out with injury, including Damon Hunter, and we saw Dundee play earlier this year, and we really liked their team. They were a solid bunch, 7-8 deep, and you lose 3 out of that rotation.
Yeah, obviously, tough loss, especially this time of the year. With you play all year to get ready for sectionals, and now you got to deal with some adversity, obviously, but. You never know, and hopefully, I know you said you might get the possibility if you win a couple games to get somebody back, and you got to deal with what you got at this point.
Game at a time.
Yep, that's all you can do.
That's what I'm telling them.
So, Brian, congratulations on another Finger Lakes East title. You're sharing it this year with Newark.
We are.
And you're both sitting atop the A2 classification heading into sectionals. Give us an update on the Panthers and how you feel about the team heading into sectionals.
Well, luckily, we're healthy. I hope we don't get jinxed here tonight. But,
I'll move over.
I think we're coming off a victory last night, obviously against Pale Mac, and I think we played a real nice first half. Especially, we get jumped on them. It was about 40-14 at halftime, and we were really playing very well. We didn't finish the game as I would have liked, but I really feel after the loss to Newark at home. After that, I think we kind of sloshed through a game here at Minders, but then after that, I think we've steadily been getting a little bit better, and I'm happy with the place we're at right now. I think we're playing some of our best basketball. I think I can feel we have so many seniors that play key roles. I can I can feel a little bit of that end of my career desperation type.
You can feel that they can feel
even
it.
the practices. Yeah, I can see the intensity coming on, and then really that just makes us better and gets us ready. And I'm really looking forward to the sectionals this year.
Well, running through the leagues, Verk, Clyde Savannah obviously takes the Wayne County crown. In the West, Bloomfield takes the West, and in the East, as I mentioned, Geneva and Newark split. Talk about Bloomfield, Coach. They were the class of the Finger Lakes West this year. You guys played a couple times, and they got 2 wins out of that. Do you feel they got a good chance to win a sectional title?
Oh, I do. Coach Maston always has them prepared. Every game they go in, their guards, their 2 guards up top, work their tails off, especially on the defensive end, Klaus and Talon. And they put a lot of pressure on your guards, and they know how to play the game. They shoot the ball when they need to, and they just have a good all-around team. They've got the big guy, they've got the shooter.
Is that Flattery, Alex Flattery?
Flattery, yep. And then Ferguson, the shooter out there, he doesn't need much time to get one off, and so I do think they're going to have a nice chance to come out of that bracket.
And Ryan, Geneva, Newark, 1-2 in the sectionals. Are you hoping that you could meet down the road, or would it be easier if maybe somebody took?
It's never in our bracket. It really doesn't matter. I think.
Yeah.
I think from 1 to 9, I really, quite honestly, Coach is just saying it, but I tell you the truth, I've seen every team in our bracket, and we have to come to play no matter who we're facing. And I'd like to play Newark again because I don't like the way we played, particularly in the second half against them the last game at home. I know our guys would like to play that just because they know each other so well. And I think that we felt like we let that one kind of slip away from us. We'd love to play it on the big court. It would be for a sectional championship, but it's a little ways down the line. But it's something that we would like to see happen.
And Verk, we live for that kind of stuff. The Wayne Finger Lakes teams meeting up there at the big house.
Yeah, that'd be great. Obviously, if you were to play Newark, that means you made the final. So,
right, exactly.
Obviously a positive thing there. And, it's nice this year, no Aquinas, so that, that's nice always. Obviously had a great team last year and, lost 2 games all year, both to Aquinas. Yep. And they finally got them back up where they belong there in the AA. But so you'll play the winner of Soda and Monroe in the first round.
Yep.
And both probably pretty athletic teams, I would imagine. And
very athletic, what you call your typical Rochester City League teams. And they got some size, both of them. Very good athletic guards. So we're at home. I feel pretty good about that. And again, like I said, I like the way we're playing. When you go scout city teams against city teams, it's hard to gauge because it's like a free for all. It's no one's guarding anybody, and the ball's flying all over the place, and the courts are small, and it's like 2 dribbles and guys get from one end to the other, and you're like, gee, how are we going to be able to stop these guys? But then I sit back now and think about it, and just like, we're going to guard these folks better than anyone that they face during the regular season. So I'm confident, that in our entire bracket, I think that we can we match up pretty well with anyone we could face.
I always get confused by all the Soda and University Prep,
Northeast,
and Northwest, and early college.
Yeah.
It's confusing. I can't keep I was trying to figure it all out today. So you would play if you were to win your first round game. Next game goes to Blue Cross for
That's
the semis?
right. Yeah, the semis are in the Blue Cross this year for us.
Was that semis there last year?
No, they weren't. There was 1 Class A bracket last year and 2 AAs. This year it's reversed. So there's 1 AA and 2 Class A brackets. So they just pushed everything, the semis, to the Blue Cross. So if we win our home game on the 22nd, we'll be up there. And I think to me, I always think about playing on the bigger court, the larger size floor, I think really helps us out because then we're able to space the floor and make our opponents guard the entire 94 feet. I think that helps us the way our system, the way we play.
So looking way, way down the road,
I hate to
you win your class. You could face a former player of yours, right? Daryl Barley from East, and that'd be quite the matchup.
That would be fun. That would mean, like you said, we'd won a sectional championship.
Exactly.
So it's icing on the cake at that point. But yeah, we'd like to. We can play as long as we can.
Well, we're going to run through all these sections in sectional points and look at some of the matchups, and we already just started with A2. But before we leave A2, I just want to talk about Wayne. We see Geneva 1, Newark 2, Wayne 3. Now, having a look at all three of these teams this year, Verk, you can see there is a little bit of gap there between Newark, Geneva, and then Wayne. And then, of course, Wayne last night drops one at home to Penn Yan.
Did you see that on YouTube? Did you see the shot?
60-foot heave that was about moments before or after Ennis actually hit his in the pit game.
Was it?
So there was a lot of long shots going in across with some upstate New York flavor last night, I guess. But
yeah, and I think
Shane
you said
Bloom.
Wayne's going to move to the 4 seed.
Yeah,
possibly?
Wayne's 4 now. Batavia jumped
after
them
that loss?
with that loss last
Yeah.
night. Batavia has one game to play, but it's tomorrow night, so it's after the seedings have been set against Lockport, who's very, very good actually.
Oh,
at Double A
that's
school.
kinda
Can that change?
rough
Will
luck.
that still change?
It will not. It
won't?
will not. No matter what, it's locked in. Their point
Really?
total's locked in right now. So yeah, Batavia jumps to the 3, and Wayne is at the 4. So Wayne's going to play Northeast Northwest, a school that I'm here with my JV coach Matt Desering, and we just went to watch them play. And Wayne's going to have their hands full.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see that action unfold.
But they did beat them once already this year. Wayne beat Northeast Northwest already once.
yeah?
So,
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's
yeah.
right.
So it can happen definitely.
Moving on to Class B1, we're only going to feature the sections here with Wayne Finger Lakes teams, but there's 4 of them in B1. Livonia obviously strong at 16-0 as number 1 seed. But then moving down, you got Penn Yan sitting in at 5. I don't think they jumped up with that win last night. It doesn't look like they could have overcame that many points. And then Palmac 6, 9 Mid Lakes, 10 Waterloo. Les, you played Penn Yan this year, didn't you?
Oh, we scrimmaged them.
You
early
scrimmaged
on in
them?
the year, Yep. We had a chance to play UPrep last year, and that's the team I've got my eye on in that bracket so far.
Yeah, they're 12-5 on the year, and Penn Yan got off to a good start this year, and then kind of fizzled. I mean, part of that was scheduling, but boy, it's a nice win on the road at Wayne last night, and maybe Verk, they ready to make a run.
Yeah, I haven't seen Penn Yan play all year, but I don't see them going too far in this bracket. They start off with Franklin. And again, this is another bracket with you got some city schools that you don't. Charlotte's typically tough. I think this change. Waterloo's going to open up with Greece Odyssey, I believe.
That's right. Yep.
So Waterloo played Greece twice this year. They're decent games. Waterloo they have a shot in that game. Obviously, I don't think Waterloo's going to go too far. But
nice to extend the season and at least one more game.
Sure, you get to win sectionals. It's a good confidence builder, something to build on going into next year. They're real young, so they're working their way up.
Yeah, Charlotte and UPrep in that bracket, I think, and it's unfortunately Livonia's had a great year.
Yeah,
and they get into a bracket. Franklin's had an unbelievable win against Buffalo East, but then they're up and down. And Charlotte is not last year's Charlotte because a lot of those kids are in leadership now, which is school we just saw. But they're still extremely talented, and they have guys. And we were at Charlotte today, which is where leadership is located. And so some of the people there were telling us about some of the Charlotte players. There's 2 or 3 guys that are out right now, and not knowing. Because you're never really sure who's going to show up until they walk through the doors. So I would think Charlotte, UPrep in that division there. But Penn Yan has guys that can really shoot it. They scare me. And when we played them, I was nervous just because they shoot it so well.
Do you know
they can get hot.
How long the Bloom kid's been back?
He's just getting his legs back. We played him about a week and a half ago, and he hit like 3 threes against us, and I could tell he's starting to get into rhythm. Of course, he made 4 last night, and he just adds another dimension to their team.
One of them
was a little long.
feet,
Yeah, right.
Just to go off topic now, so those kids can just switch schools from leadership to Charlotte?
Well, Leadership Academy is what's considered a new school this year, and it's in the same building. They're housed in the same building, and they just created their – Leadership was there before, but they only had like 9th and 10th grade, kind of like UPrep starting up.
Right.
But now they got up to 11th grade, and then they decided to have separate athletic teams. So that's why both Charlotte and Leadership, who were A, it was just Charlotte last year as an A. Now they're both 2 different teams into the B brackets.
And did Leadership exist last year?
No,
They didn't.
It existed, but not a sports
Not
program.
as best
so all
one.
those Leadership kids played on the Charlotte team last year.
Okay.
They were first seeded in Class A.
It's kind of like what Miners ran into like 3 years ago when they played the team from Buffalo.
Was it Middle College?
Yeah,
Buffalo?
Middle
Yeah,
College.
they're loaded again. And
Yeah,
I know you guys talk a lot about Clyde, and I love Clyde, what they've done
It's
this
gonna
year.
be the same
Middle
thing.
College is right there waiting for them, and
Yeah.
that could be scary for them.
Yeah, it's Doesn't seem right.
I mean, Minders went in undefeated. It was the year they played in the West, actually, and they went up there and it was a 60-point. You know, they lost by 50, 60. It was, and leadership won the state championship by 30, I think. So, or
middle college.
So,
man, there's no.
It's unfortunate, you know. You get, you know, how things work out.
Hey, listen, I thought we had a great team last year, and I loved my team. And then we run into, but bumping into Aquinas was just like
private school.
It still bothers me to this day.
It does, yeah.
Because that's it. That's it. And you know, that's the Shane Sweeney senior year, and and you run into a buzzsaw like that.
Especially in a private school.
They play against they play with different rules than the public schools.
And it's a public school tournament, right? I know we can have this debate forever.
Well, we've had it before. We haven't had it in a while because I think we kind of hashed it out so many times. But let's move ahead to B2. Two Wayne Finger Lakes teams in Class B2. You got North Rose Wolcott at 3 with Big Chris Dean, and they 13-5 season, Burke, in Wayne County. And then you got Marcus Whitman, 5 seed. They moved from the east to the west. They're 12-5. And really one of the surprises, I think, of the year overall. And you know, you played Marcus Whitman twice. You beat him twice. I think they were both close games, or the last one was a 1-point game?
The last one was a 1-point game up there. It was our first game without Cole.
Yep.
And, no, they played well. They shot lights out. I think they hit 9, maybe 10 threes against us.
And Luke Shively's the guy that's making a lot of those shots, I imagine.
He had 2, I think. He ended up with 20 that night. But, no, he's a very tough guard. He's a real athletic kid. He's only, I'm going to guess by looking at him, 6'1" or so. I mean, when I was watching him in warm-ups, and, I mean, everybody's got kids that can throw him down now, or at least in warm-ups they can get up there close. But this kid would go up with ease. He's just so athletic, two-handed. And
6'1".
Yep. No, he's a very athletic kid.
That, yeah, you know, North Rose, you know, again, you know, Leadership Academy's in there who, you know, don't know a whole lot. You know, they're obviously pretty good, 12-5 playing up in the city. Yeah. But I think, you know, North Rose got a good shot, you know, against most of those teams that, you know, they played Clyde right that, you know, they're beating Clyde at Clyde by, you know, double figures in the fourth quarter and kind of blew that game. But, you know, North Rose is well coached, and, you know, they'll have a chance to win some games there.
So moving ahead to C1, and this is quite a bracket here for Wayne Finger Lakes fans. Moving from bottom to top, you got Sodas is a 12 seed. They'll actually face Minders work first round. Then you got Williamson's an 11 seed. And then you move up into the upper half of the bracket, and it starts out with Red Creek at 7, who's really come on a little bit as of late, winning last night against Gananda. And Jake Slobe had 36 points. So they're 7 seed. Then you got Minders 5 seed at 8 and 10. 3 seeds Gananda at 10 and 8. 2 seed Rochester 15 and 3. Also a pretty big surprise in the Wayne County this year, finishing up their season strong. And then number 1 Bloomfield 15 and 2, undefeated in the West, number 1 seed. What do you think, Vert?
I think, you know, I think it's pretty wide open. Even going down the, you know, the 7 seed Red Creek, you know, they played Clyde tough a couple times this year. They played Lions tough. ER, you know, they've been into all those games. They never really got that big win. But you know, Minders is 8 and 10. But I guarantee no C school probably in the state played a schedule like they played. Right. You know, playing the Finger Lakes East at non-league, they go play Clyde, who's, you know, number 1 in the state, Lions
twice.
You know, so they're battle tested, which, you know, it's kind of, you know, now they get down and play some schools their size. You know, they've had tremendous success obviously over the past 4 years. You know, really should be going for their 5th title in a row if they didn't get upset a couple years ago. But you know, it's that'll be a fun bracket to watch, see what happens. You know, even you know, Minders in the semis or in the quarters playing Gananda should be a good game. So it's you know, I think Minders kind of wild card in that class, given that, you know, they're 8 and 10, but played a great schedule, and should be interesting.
Yeah, a lot of Wayne County leagues in there, and then of course Bloomfield. You guys got any thoughts on this bracket? I mean, I don't know how many of these teams you guys have seen, but
I haven't seen many of the Wayne schools this year. And I'm interested to see how well Bloomfield holds up with them. I do think it is a wide open bracket, and a lot of them do have a chance to make some noise.
And that's always the thing we speculate about is, okay, you got Bloomfield, the Finger Lakes West champ, against Minders, the fourth-place team in the East, and you got East ER, the second-place team in Wayne County, and Ganonda's, fifth place in Wayne County? And, how's it all going to shake out when they play each other?
Yeah, we were talking earlier, Ganonda played in the Christmas tournament to beat Avon, who's having a good year, and they beat Geneseo, who's 13-5. So some good non. I think that kind of makes me think Wayne County's pretty decent, and it's tough. Bloomfield, their 2 losses were to Livonia, who's 18-0, and to School of the Arts, who not a great record, but a city school, and that those are the only 2 teams that beat Bloomfield all year.
We went up there and scouted that game. Actually, I missed the Livonia game, and so we went up and scouted the Soda game the next night, and it was a completely different Bloomfield team than what I've seen all year. I don't know if they took the loss and their heads were out of it, but there was no emotion, and
didn't play well.
Yeah.
I think being a Finger Lakes East guy, I'm obviously rooting for Minders to do well, and they competed. They played us. The first time we played them, we beat them pretty good at our place, and then when we came back up here was after our Newark loss, and they played great. I give them all the credit. The coach did a great job and got them ready to go. But the key, everyone talks about Luke, but the key to their team is Jason Anderson. If Jason Anderson holds it together and handles and doesn't try to do too much, just plays within himself, they could beat any team in that bracket.
Yeah, we've talked about it. We obviously here in
great
Santa
athlete,
Falls,
and he can get it done. Just sometimes he gets a little wild and gets a little out of control, and one thing leads to another.
Right.
And they got some shooters that who come in. They got to knock down shit. Luke's going to get double teamed a lot, and some other guys, if they get another score to step up and get 15, 16 points, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, so geez, there's as many Wayne Finger Lakes teams in that bracket as there isn't. So we hopefully see somebody in the big house out of C1, C2. We were so excited all year about the potential of a Clyde Lions rematch. Now Lions goes in, and C2 is the 4 seed, but unfortunately, they've lost half their team to injury. Damon Hunter's out, Farah's out, and Josh Desane, their 6th man, out with injury. So it's going to be tough for that to materialize. And then you got Red Jacket and Marion towards the bottom half, but Clyde Savannah, 18-0. They're poised for a state championship run, but Verk, as dominant as we've thought Clyde Savannah is all year, every time we look at the scoreboards, and even when we've seen them in a few games, with the exception of the Miners game that they rolled, the scores are closer than you'd think when you're talking about a state championship caliber team.
Sure, kind of compare them to almost like Syracuse being undefeated. They've had 3 or 4 games. They at Lions they win by 1. The other night against Northwest Wolcott, they were down. Most of the game, they end up pulling it out. Seems like they make the plays when they have to. But yeah, Red Creek gave them a good game. They've obviously they're beatable, and I don't know a whole lot about Kendall and Alex or who's the 2 and the 3.
Calmom. They're 16-1.
Their only loss is to Perry, who is 17-1. So
Yeah, they've traditionally had the last few years. Kilmom's been pretty decent. We actually played, I think, at a tournament in Lyons my first year, like a summertime thing. We played Kilmom. I thought they were a pretty good team. I mean, they shot the ball very well, played hard, and I know they've been rolling some teams in that Livingston Conference. Now I don't know how strong that is. Got to give a shout out to my Warsaw. I went to Warsaw High School, and they got to get they're 0-18 right now. So hopefully they'll pick it up a little bit here in sectionals. But they've usually been pretty good. And Perry's traditional power down there, I know in your classes and stuff like that.
Well, I know that anything less than a sectional title for this Clyde team is going to be a big disappointment, especially coming off of last year winning a sectional title. Cam DeSanto is a senior, and Jomaine Bogan's a senior. Joe Faniel, the point guard, senior year, and that's a big 3.
They're up from C3 to C2. A little different in that bracket, possibly. Last year they, in the final they beat Wheatland Chila, I believe, by 100. It seemed like I remember walking in the gym and Clyde was up 60 or something, and then they end up losing the Miners in the qualifier. But it's it's not going to be easy for them. As we've seen, teams can play them tough and. Joe Faniel's been a big key for them, and especially in the Wolcott game, he had 29 points there. So, You know, and they're big. You know, they got a lot of good pieces. So we'll see how it all goes.
You guys know how long is Tippy Hunter out for? Is he?
I think he's done.
He's done
Really?
for the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, it's too bad.
It's really upsetting. Fans of the sport.
Is that why Zach's not here?
It might be. He said he had to go to a JV game,
Okay.
but I know he's not too happy right now
Sure.
about the way things shake down. The biggest disappointment is last year Damon Hunter kind of broke out at sectionals at the big house and was MVP. And you're excited to see what he can do in his junior year, but it's just not going to happen. Obviously, even if they make it, he's not going to be back. So, so finally we got Class C3. Dundee comes in at a 3rd seed, 15-3. Naples 2 behind at a 5 seed. Then you got South Seneca and Honeoye also in there, which South Seneca they've been playing better too. I wouldn't be surprised if they were to win a game or maybe even 2. But before we talk about your shot, tell me a little bit about South Seneca.
Scrappy team. Coach Lent always has them prepared, and they don't let up. I mean, you can come out and jump all over them right off the bat, and they just keep fighting. They fight the whole way through, no matter what the score is. And I was excited to hear that he had gotten the job back this year, and I can see him scaring somebody at some point. Yep.
And then Naples, Isaiah Tilley's their big guy, or their big scorer, but probably their best player.
Yes, yep. Tilley, everything goes through him. We ended up having to play a lot more zone against them the other night with all our guys out, and when we played him up there, we were able to play him man with one of our real athletic kids, and it kind of shut him down, and it shut their offense down.
So now what about the Scots with the injuries? Can you guys win a game or 2 or one game to get to the semis, and then maybe you get 1 or 2 of these kids back and then push forward? Who's the first round matchup?
We're looking right now at York or Pavilion. When it came out today, Chilai lost last night to Notre Dame, and it ended up putting us in a tie record and points-wise. And through the tiebreaker, the brackets have us as a 2 seed. Right now.
Great.
And so it flipped who we were scouting and everything. So now I got to go get it in another row.
But that does give you a first round bye, right?
We had
You would have had either way, which is
Yep.
great when you're dealing with injuries. And then you got this, the game against Pavilion. You're thinking, or York? You just don't know yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen either
Yeah.
one of them this year yet. York is the higher seeded team, and I know the Livingston County is pretty competitive out there. So I got to go out and see that next week. Went and saw Perry Geneseo game the other night. Very good game. Geneseo hung with them the whole way. Real quick guards.
Coach Gillette still there at Perry?
Yes, he is. Yep.
Jesus.
Yep.
Been there forever.
They,
We beat Perry in the finals my senior year, and
Yeah.
he was coaching.
Yeah.
Man, that
Yeah,
was
that's
a long
30.
time
He was a
ago.
coach when I played, and that was a
Jeez.
long time ago, way before Vert.
Well, then you got Class D1 to wrap it up. You got Romulus, and then you got HAC. Now, what about HAC? Earlier in the year, I think maybe our first or second show, you said, look out for HAC. And, they're 9-8. They got a winning record. How do you like their chances in D1?
They're going to scare somebody. They're going to give somebody fits. They've got good size. They've got 2 big kids, 2 that I think are 6'5". They've got 2 kids outside that shoot the ball real well, and actually one kid that kind of surprised me this year is the Everett kid. He's come on and he's scored. I think he's even scored in the 30s this year, if not high 20s. But the last time we played them, he was a hard kid to stop. So I look for him to be very competitive.
Well, they come in as a 6 seed, and, Verk, this is where we kind of sit back and just keep our fingers crossed and see how many Wayne Finger Lakes teams we're going to see up in Rochester. And the more the merrier. Last year there was a ton, and we were up there all weekend.
Yeah, it's it's fun time of the year, obviously, and looking forward to seeing some of these games play out.
So it all gets underway next week. And, you got the seating meeting coming up on Friday, and then Saturday's the seating banquet, and then games get underway next week. We're going to step aside for 60 seconds, come back, and then quickly give our players of the week, our top 10 power rankings, and then we'll say head back out into the snow. So hang tight.
we hold on to the things that really matter. Welcome to Generations Bank.
Hi, I'm Jody Torrio. If you're like me, you've got stuff lying around the house that you want to recycle, but you're just not sure how, like broken toasters, vacuum cleaners, or microwaves. At Seneca Meadows, we have a drop-off for those. Bring in anything with a cord, and we'll make sure it's recycled properly through our partnership with 2TRG. It's that easy.
And welcome back to the Upstate Hoops podcast on Finger Lakes One TV. Players of the week, Verk. Is this going to be the last time, or did we do them through sectionals last year?
I don't remember.
I don't either, but we got T-shirts, so maybe we'll just keep on giving them out. The Wayne Finger Lakes Upstate Hoops Player of the Week wins fingerlakes1.com T-shirt, and all you got to do is email us at upstatehoops@fingerlakes1.com with your T-shirt size and address, and we'll get that right out to you. And this week, Verk, I'm going with Lincoln Lowe of South Seneca. Do you know what class he is? Is he a sophomore?
I don't know.
Or a junior? It's
I think he's. I don't know. Do you know?
I want to say a junior, but
Okay.
junior.
yeah.
That could be right. But he had 20 versus Whitman, 17 versus Romulus, and solid week for a team that keeps getting better and a kid that we probably talk about a lot next year. So I give it to Lincoln Lowe from South Seneca.
All right, I got Justin Reho from ER. 27 points, 7 3-pointers versus North Rose.
And then back it up with 20 versus Sodas last night. But
Yep.
7 threes, holy.
Yeah.
I don't think we've hit 7 all year. Whole team.
That's a big night, and one of the reasons that ER's kind of peaking now heading into sectional. So congratulations, Lincoln Lowe from South Seneca and Justin Reho from ER. Now, if we went outside the Wayne Finger Lakes to give this award, we might have had to give it to Jake Fenlon, if I said it right, of McQuaid, who hit a school record 11 three-pointers versus Charlotte on Tuesday night. 11. We got excited when Trevor Cooney hit 9 against Notre Dame. 11's a lot.
I've seen him. I was scouting Aquinas, and McQuaid Aquinas game, and they had to play it at RIT because the place was jammed. But he can definitely shoot. I mean, he's unbelievable. Moves well without the ball, uses screens, so he's the real deal.
And Verk, you ever hit 11 threes? in the
No,
game?
never.
What's the most you ever had in the game?
9
9?
in college, yeah.
Oh, that was in college. Okay.
Yeah, most in high school was like 6 a couple times.
You scored like 60 points one game against Mid Lakes. What was it?
I had
60?
six threes.
6 threes in the game. You scored 60. Man, it's a lot of twos. A lot of free throws probably.
No, a lot of layups actually. They weren't too hot, and we stole the ball a lot, so it rang up pretty fast.
Well, let's move ahead, and this is going to be the last time we give our power rankings for the year. Top 10 teams across the Wayne Finger Lakes, where we try to kind of figure out how they all stack up. Next year, guys, I was actually thinking, and I probably should have told you this before I brought it up, but I was thinking maybe we get some coaches and media to vote, to submit a list every week, kind of like a legitimate AP poll, and then we'll compile it and just give it on the show each week.
That's how we do it for the DNC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
Johnson, James
Yeah.
Johnson.
Exactly. Yep.
Well, we're in for next year, Verk. That's going to be a change.
All right,
So
you take care of it.
So this is the last time we're ever going to give our individual power rankings, which always is a source of discussion. I'm going to go first. I got Gananda at 10 and 8 out of Wayne County. Then I'm going Minders 9 at 8 and 10. I just still can't get over that Pell Mac loss. Is the main reason I don't have them a couple higher. Then I got North Rose Wolcott at 8. And then I got Wayne at 7. I'm dropping them after losing at home to Penn Yan, even if it was a 60-foot shot. But, they had chances to close that game out, and they didn't. Then I got Dundee at 6. I had to drop them once I learned about all these injuries. I got ER at 5, and they're my trending team. I think 3 weeks ago they weren't even in there. Now I got them 5, trending upwards, Verk.
All right.
And then Bloomfield, the FL West champs at 4, and then I every week I wonder Geneva or Newark. I got Geneva 3, Newark 2, but at the end of the day, we're going to find out
That's what's great
over
about
the
it.
next couple of
Polls
weeks.
don't get to play.
Right, and,
So-
but you'll
Hopefully.
never get to play my number 1 team though, which is Clyde. Although you're scrimmaging,
We are scrimmaging
I need to
Tuesday.
know the result of that scrimmage. So I,
It's a scrimmage. It's a scrimmage. Although the guys want to play it for real, I know that they know
Sure.
we know those guys, and but I think it really helped both programs. I think heading into the sectional, so I was happy when Coach Jackson gave me a call, and so we were able to set that up. Yep.
yeah, that's awesome. Verk, how about your top 10?
I got Gananda 10, Northwolves Wolcott 9, Dundee 8, Minder 7, Wayne 6, ER 5, Bloomfield 4, Clyde 3, Newark 2, and Geneva 1.
And boy, Verk.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Well, he fought.
I think Newark and Geneva beat Clyde in the game. We've talked about it before. I've had Clyde ranked 1, but they struggled with a couple teams over there, and I don't think Newark or Clyde would struggle with those teams. Or Newark or Geneva would struggle with them. So
I think that Newark's is different than those other 2 teams. They don't have as much size, but they don't play any smaller because they're so deep and so active. And when you watch them play, you see them doing their warm-ups, you notice that they don't have any guys as big as Junior Sims or Terrell Johnson or DeSanto or Bogan. But yet they're getting rebounds, and they're really active on defense. And then you got, Geneva with those 2 great seniors I mentioned, and Trevor Doduro doing a great job for you at point guard, and then Akia Jackson, the guy that we always seem to overlook, who plays 90 feet. And then with Clyde, you got the big 3 we mentioned earlier, but then you got Michael Turner, who's emerged as a real workhorse on the boards and a lot of second chance points. And I don't know, I like these 3 teams, and I hope to see them go deep over the next month. So it all gets underway. Friday night, the seating meeting. Saturday, the seating banquet. Then preliminary games underway on Monday through Wednesday. So works out for us because next Thursday night there's no games. We'll be able to kind of catch our breath and take a look at all the brackets where they stand. Fill them out office pool style maybe. Zach Young from Lions is going to be in studio next week. We wanted to have him in here too, so we'd have one representative from every league. But you know what? If we did, we probably would have never been.
There's no room for him. We
Yeah.
couldn't fit him on the couch here. You had to sit on my lap.
Yeah, well, that would have been good for ratings too if
Right.
you guys all squeezed in on the
Yeah.
couch together. But Zach is coming in studio next week, and we'll be back at 9 to break it all down. So thanks a lot, guys, for making the drive through the snow and
Thanks for having us.
all the way
That's
from
great.
Dundee. And Brian, you came from Rochester after scouting the game. And hopefully the snow stops so your ride home isn't too treacherous. But appreciate it, and good luck rest of the way.
Thanks so
Thank you
much,
very
guys.
much.
So that about wraps it up for this week's edition of the Upstate Hoops podcast. For our live viewers, we'll be back online at 10 p.m. Eastern for the Upstate Orange podcast. There's a nice shot I want to talk about last night. Tyler Ennis hit it. For my co-host Matt Verkey, our producer Jeremy Hunt, I'm Jim Sinacropi. See you next week.
Finger Lakes wine.